Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardha Hari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardha Hari Yashodanandana Rajadanandana Yashodanandana Rajadanandana Jamuna Tira Banasari Jamuna Tira Banasari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardha Hari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardha Hari Yashodanandana Rajadanandana Yashodanandana Rajadanandana Jamuna Tira Banasari Jamuna Tira Banasari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Radha Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Gaur Premanandi, Jai Vishupad Paramahamsa, Tri Vraj Gacharya Stotra Sutta, Sri Srimad, His Divine Grace, the Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, the Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Skandibiti, Founder Charya, Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki, Samavata Bhakta Vrinda ki, Harinam Sankirtan ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru, to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Taksurandaritam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadam Tikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Parakamanam Shri Gurun Vaisnavam Sya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalitam Shri Visakam Vitam Sya Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Keshavanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyasyam Kripa Sindhu Vyayevasya Patitanam Pavanegyo Vaishnavyo Jamo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Chaiva Narottamam Devim Sarasatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayana Rishi, the supremest human being, unto Mother Saraswati, Goddess of Learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayesha Badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavata Tamasloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Uttama-shloka Saritam Jakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swasayanam Maha. The Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, is the literary incarnation of God, which is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Vivasai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Saradhyaya Namaha. Om Saradhyaya Namaha. Om Saradhyaya Namaha. Mukham karoti vachalam tvangum langayate girim yatkripa tamaham bande Shri Gurum Dinataram. Yatkripa tamaham bande Shri Gurum Dinataram. We continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 5, entitled The Cause of All Causes. Today is text number 11. Text 11. Yena sva rocisha vishvam rochitam rosayami aham yatharko agnir yatha somo yatharksha graha tarakah yena sva rochisa vishvam rochitam rosa royamya rochitam rosayamyaham yatharkognir yatha somo yatharksha graha tarakah yena sva rochisa vishvam rochitam rosayamyaham yatharkognir yatha somo yatharksha graha tarakah yena sva rochisa vishvam rochitam rosayamyaham yatharkognir yatha somo yatharksha graha tarakah yena sva rochisa vishvam rochitam rosayat yatharkognir yatha somo yatharksha graha tarakah yena swarochisa vishvam rochitam rosayamyaham yatharkognir yatha somo yatharksha graha tarakah yena, by whom, swarochisa by his own effulgence, Vishwam, all the world, Rochitam, already created potentially, Rochayami, do manifest, Aham, I, Yatha, as much, Arkaha, the sun, Agnihi, fire, Yatha, as, Somaha, the moon, Yatha, as also, Diksha, the firmament, Graha, the influential planets, Taraka, the stars. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. I create after the Lord's creation by His personal effulgence, known as the Brahmajyoti, just as when the sun manifests its fire, the moon, the firmament, the influential planets, and the twinkling stars also manifest their brightness. Kindly repeat after me. I create after the Lord's creation by His personal effulgence, known as the Brahmajyoti. Just as when the sun manifests its fire, the moon, the firmament, the influential planets, and the twinkling stars also manifest their brightness. Report. Lord Brahmaji said to Narada that his impression, Narada's impression, that Brahma was not the supreme authority in the creation was correct. Sometimes less intelligent men have the foolish impression that Brahma is the cause of all causes. But Narada wanted to clear the matter by the statements of Brahmaji, the supreme authority in the universe. As the decision of the Supreme Court of the state is final, similarly the judgment of Brahmaji, the supreme authority in the universe, is final in the Vedic process of acquiring knowledge. As we have already affirmed in the previous verse, Naradaji was a liberated soul. Therefore, he was not one of the less intelligent men who accept a false god or gods in their own ways. He represented himself as less intelligent and yet intelligently presented a doubt to be cleared by the supreme authority so that the uninformed might take note of it and be rightly informed about the intricacies of the creation and the creator. Yes. So there is Sarga and Visarga. There are, Bhagavatam is explaining 10 principles. Shukadeva Goswami is covering 10 different topics, and the first two topics actually are dealing with creation, primary creation and secondary creation. Primary creation is Krishna. Krishna, not directly. Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, so he doesn't. He has agents. His agents are the different, his different incarnations, which are fully described in the Bhagavatam. And specifically in terms of the material creation, it is the Vishnu incarnation, Mahavishnu, Garbhadakshay Vishnu, Kshiradakshay Vishnu. They are the personalities who are dealing with the material creation. So Lord Brahma is beginning to answer here to the question of Narada that yes, actually, your observation is correct. I'm not the all in all. I am the creator, secondary creator. There is an original creator. Yes. So then Prabhupada continues here in the purport. Yeah. In this verse, Brahmaji clears up the wrong impression held by the less intelligent and affirms that it creates the universal variegatedness after the potential creation by the glaring effulgence of Lord Sri Krishna. Brahmaji has also separately given this statement in the Samhita known as the Brahma Samhita 540, where he says, Yasya prabha prabhavato jagadandakoti kotri shvashesha vasudhanti vibhuddhibhinnam tad brahmaniskalam anantam ashesha bhutam govindam adipurusham tamaham bhajami. I serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, the primeval Lord, whose transcendental bodily effulgence, known as the Brahmajyoti, which is unlimited, unphantomed, and all-pervasive, is the cause of the creation of unlimited numbers of planets, etc., with varieties of climates and specific conditions of life. So this Brahma Samhita, as we know, is very important literature, which was discovered by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he visited South India. And what we have today is only one, which chapter is it? Is only one section of the original Brahma Samhita. Means, fifth chapter. I think there were 100 chapters. So it's only giving us a little glimpse. But even that chapter is full of very wonderful information upon which, as we know, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur commented in a way which is wonderful as well, and not so easy for us to follow. So, because Lord Brahma was that living entity who had darshan, who received transcendental knowledge from Krishna, who had darshan of the spiritual world. Therefore, uh, he is, uh, in our particular sampradaya, we are followers of the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. So all the knowledge is coming down through uh, Lord Brahma. This is uh, one of the uh, verses, yeah, the 40th verse of the 5th chapter of the Brahma Samhita. Mm. So here in this verse actually mentions how, yeah, that it is this Govinda, mm, whose transcendental bodily effulgence is a cause of the creation of unlimited numbers of planets, etc. To continue that purport, the same statements, the same statement is in the Bhagavad Gita, 14:27. Lord Krishna is the background of the Brahmajyoti. Brahmano hi. Okay, that's the last verse actually. Brahmano hi pratistaham. This is the chapter dealing with the three modes of material nature, where Krishna says, Brahmano hi pratistaham amritasya jayasya cha shasvatasya chadharmasya sukasya kantikasya cha. And I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman, which is the constitutional position of unlimited happiness, and which is immortal, imperishable, and eternal. Yeah. In the Nirukti or Vedic dictionary, the import of pratistha hmm, is mentioned as that which establishes. So pratistha, we refer to Srila Prabhupada as the pratistha acharya, the one who has established ISKCON, ISKCON acharya pratistha. He is a founder, just like when somebody registers a trust or corporation organization. There's always like the founder members of the trust. So Srila Prabhupada is that founder, Acharya, ISKCON founder Acharya, Pratistha, one who establishes. So that is mentioned in this verse here, 14th chapter. So the Brahmajyoti is not independent or self-sufficient. The Brahmajyoti is described as the bodily effulgence, the bodily rays of Krishna, Krishna's bodily rays. Those who are Mayavadis, impersonalists, they generally those who practice yoga, they are trained to meditate on the light. But beyond the light, that's also mentioned in, I believe, Sri Ishopanishad. My dear Lord, please remove that glaring light so that I can have darshan of your original transcendental form. So behind Brahmajyoti is very, just like the sun is a representation of the Brahmajyoti. It is but a very insignificant portion or aspect. And we know how powerful is the sun. So what to speak of the whole the whole spiritual sky, the spiritual world is protected actually by, or is surrounded by this Brahmajyoti. So the Brahmajyoti is not independent or self-sufficient. Lord Sri Krishna is ultimately the creator of the Brahmajyoti, mentioned in this verse as Swarochisa, Swarochisa, or the effulgence of the transcendental body of the Lord. We can relate to that a little bit. We speak of aura, right? Actually, everybody and everybody, we have this body, every body, every living body, because of the life force within the body. The life force is what makes us conscious, and there is, because it is described that the living spark within the body, just like when we look at each other, we see in your eye, we see the spark of life. If you look at a dead body, you won't see that, isn't it? There's a twinkling in the eye. When people do painting, they have to put that, otherwise it's like a dead. your photo portrait is like lifeless. You have to put. So sometimes people sometimes can conceive the aura. Some personalities, for example, when Prabhupada, many devotees describe when they first saw Srila Prabhupada, they perceived, which is natural, because Prabhupada was self-realized personality, and therefore one can sometimes perceive this energy. It's an aura, means energy, which comes out of the body. It's not that when you walk at night you're completely like shining, but there is an aura, and depending on the development of consciousness, that aura is sometimes more prominent and can actually be perceived. We see in Christianity, for example, they usually put an aura on the top of the head, isn't it? Of Lord Jesus, for example. So we all have some kind of aura, but in Kali Yuga it's less. It is less observed. We cannot perceive it. So this, if such an aura is there within our very, insignificant body, what to speak of Krishna? Krishna, who is the origin of all energies. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matha sarvam pravartate. So he's the cause of the material and spiritual world. So uh, Krishna's aura, Krishna's energy is very, very powerful. So, yeah. So this verse is actually making reference here to this. Prabhupada is explaining Swarochisha. Swarochisha means the effulgence of the transcendental body of the Lord. This Brahmajyoti is all pervading, and all creation is made possible by its potential power. Therefore, the Vedic hymns declare that everything that exists is being sustained by the Brahmajyoti. Sarvam Kalvidam Brahma. Therefore, the potential seed of all creation is the Brahmajyoti. And the same Brahmajyoti, unlimited and unphantom, is established by the Lord. Therefore, the Lord, Sri Krishna, is ultimately the supreme cause of all causes. Aham sarvasya prabhu. Yeah. Sarva karanam. One should not expect the Lord to create like a blacksmith with a hammer and other instruments. Yes, this is our faulty, crippled-minded way of thinking. We generally try to understand things based on our limited perception. So, just like there's that picture of Atlas holding the universe. You know, it's like very heavy. Krishna, he's holding thousands and millions and trillions of universes with the Bhagavad Gita also, but with the spark of my, Krishna is unlimited, and therefore his way of doing things, his way of creating, is also beyond our understanding. So Prabhupada makes it quite vivid here by mentioning that Krishna doesn't create like a blacksmith with a hammer and other instruments. The Lord creates by his potencies, because he is Shaktiman. That is one of the tattvas. The Lord has, what are the three tattvas described by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur that Krishna has? Shaktiman is one of those three, and the other one is having to do with the Lord's feelings or emotions. Yeah, that is referred to as, he is Rasa Samudra. He is the ocean of transcendental emotions. He is the source and the origin of mellows. The whole Bhagavad Gita, rather Nectar Devotion, is especially dealing with the subject matter. So Krishna, he is Shaktiman. He is the origin of all energies. This is being referred to here. Yeah. Prabhupada quotes the verse, Parasya Shaktir Vividaiva Sruyate. The Lord creates by his potencies. He has his multifarious potencies. Parasya Shaktir Vividaiva Sruyate. Just as the small seed of the banyan tree has the potency to create a big banyan tree, the Lord disseminates all varieties of seeds by his potential Brahmajyoti, Swarochisha, and the seeds are made to develop by the watering process of persons like Brahma. So it's like a gardener, right? You may have a bag of seeds, but unless you know what to do with the seeds. Actually, in the Shastra, there's a whole science how to uh, make the seeds uh, produce abundantly. Shastra describes how seeds, before they are thrown in the ground, they should be coated with some mixture of, I believe, ghee and cow dung. Maybe when you took the course on Pansagavya, that might have been covered or mentioned. Uh, so there's a whole science, of course. The very fact of a seed, just one seed, and within that seed, this is how the Lord creates, or this is the potency of the Lord. That within one seed, one huge banyan tree, and each every fruit tree or every fruit, they have seeds. Yeah, this is Krishna's wonderful way of creating. So here Prabhupada is telling the seeds are made to develop by the watering process of persons like Brahma. Brahma cannot create the seeds, but he can manifest the seed into a tree, just as a gardener helps plants and orchards to grow by the watering process. Yeah. The example cited here of the sun is very appropriate. In the material world, the sun is the cause of all illumination. Fire, electricity, the rays of the moon, etc. All luminaries in the sky are creations of the sun. The sun is a creation of the Brahmajyoti, and the Brahmajyoti is the effulgence of the Lord. Thus, the ultimate cause of creation is the Lord. Uh, the interesting description and interesting topic as well. Actually, we in the Mahabharata, it is nicely described when the Pandavas were still in exile, and at one point, Arjuna, it is decided that he will go and see his father in Svargaloka. So so the Pandavas, they all go. It's like, if you're going on a journey, everyone will walk you to the train station, and give you like a farewell departure. So the Pandavas, they all went with Arjuna in the Himalayas, and from from one particular place, there's a connection actually with the Svargaloka. There's a particular, you could say, launching pad, kind of, huh? Portal. Portal. Yeah. This is not just science fiction. People who read Mahabharata, and they probably might take it as science fiction, but actually it's true. So, anyways, when by chanting different mantras and praying, so what happens is that this is nicely described in the Mahabharata that Indra, father of Arjuna, sends his chariot, just like a big man. He will send his driver to pick you up at the airport. He won't go himself because he's too busy. So Indra sends his chariot and the chariot driver. I forget his name now. So the chariot driver invites Arjuna, you please come. We're going to see your father. So they start ascending, right? They start ascending in the sky, in the material sky, because Svargaloka is still in the material sky, heavenly part of the material world. And then it's like somebody taking an airplane for the first time, right? Especially young children, even adults, I suppose. Whoever takes a flight for the first time, it's like, wow, the new experience. So Arjuna is going up in this chariot, and he's sitting beside, the driver of the chariot, and it's like, what we see from planet Earth is very. We see only something, portion of what is up there, but when you actually go up, we'll all have that experience when we leave our body. Actually, we'll be going up somewhere. Don't know exactly where. But the idea is that those who are perfected beings, they will be given a grand tour of the material universe as they leave the material world to go to the spiritual world. Anyways, in this case, Arjuna was not leaving the material world. He was just going to heaven, to the Svargaloka, to see his father. So as they were continuing to rise more and more and more, the chariot driver is explaining, and he's explaining the different areas in the celestial sky, and then he points out to the Saptarishi, and he says, and these are the 7 sages. What you people on the earth call the 7 stars, these are the Saptarishis. It means that actually the stars are not just like material things. Just like we know that the moon, their personification. So as part of the whole cosmic management of the material world, there are certain personalities who have, just like the sun god. The sun is there, then there's the sun god is there. The same with all major planets, Chandra, the moon planet. So it's, when I read that for the first time quite some years back while reading the Mahabharata, I thought this is very interesting how, and it just shows how we are extremely limited in our perception and understanding of things. Because the stars are so far away, thousands and thousands, and what can we understand or see? Therefore, some of these stars are actually we were talking about the aura. So um, I don't know how it happens, but these Saptarishis are actually personalities who have a particular, uh, we could say, role and duty and responsibility in the context of the management and proper functioning of the of the universe. So the the aura is actually a very fascinating subject matter, uh, and aura is connected directly with life energy, life force, and Krishna consciousness actually life force is directly connected with consciousness, and Krishna consciousness means actually uh, expanding, expanding or developing or allowing that original consciousness that is there in the spiritual sky, especially, to become manifest. Anyways, mm, yes, Prabhupada is mentioning here in the last portion that in the material world, the sun is the cause of all illumination, fire, electricity, rays of the moon, etc. The sun gives out both heat and light, you know. And there's a direction, a connection here. All luminaries in the sky, Prabhupada is telling, are creations of the sun. How that happens, that's a whole other subject matter. But here also Prabhupada, the sun is a creation of the Brahmajyoti. I always thought that the sun was one speck of the Brahmajyoti. So it is, mm, and the Brahmajyoti is the effulgence of the Lord. We'll read the verse again. These as follows. I create after the Lord's creation. Just like, yeah, we can understand. Prabhupada also gives that example. Just like now we're going to build my kutir. So the kutir, first all the ingredients have to come. The wood has to come. The stone has to come. Whatever will be part of that house. But who builds a house? The carpenter will build a house. So he's like the secondary creator. He doesn't create the wood. The elements are already created. They have to be brought on site, and then he has some creative ability, of course, because it's not anybody that can put all those pieces, ingredients together. So Lord Brahma, in a similar way, the ingredients are there, and he's engaged in the secondary creation. I create after the Lord's creation by his personal effulgence, known as the Brahmajyoti, just as when the sun manifests its fire, the moon, the firmament, the influential planets, and the twinkling stars also manifest their brightness. These are interesting subject matters for people who study topics related to material energy, earth, water, fire, air. So any comments or question on this? It means that the material creation is very, very intricate and in the hands of Lord Brahma, but that even before this material creation, the origin is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. The material creation is very, very intricate, very attractive. So that means that the origin of that creation, Lord Krishna, is unlimitedly attractive and intricate in so many different ways. Okay, we can close for now. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, all the Premanandi.